Hey everybody, what is going on? This is Anthony with the VR Game Rankings YouTube channel, and of course you guys are tuned in to our daily vlog series. This is a brand new week. It is Monday, March 12th, and we are on episode 116, and we do have some pretty cool news stories to go ahead and dive into on this Monday, so why don't we get the ball rolling? And our first story of the day is Google. Okay, so we know that Google is one of the most powerful companies on planet Earth, and we know that they are going to be very involved in the VR AR future that is going to be coming to a theater near you within the next 5 to 10 years. Obviously, there's probably about 10 to 15 really big companies around the world that are going to be looking to take advantage of virtual reality and augmented reality, and Google has to be one of the absolute biggest. Now, obviously, they already have the Daydream platform. They've already introduced Google Cardboard, and they've done a lot for the proliferation of virtual reality in general from a mass market standpoint with, of course, Google Cardboard, and then, of course, bringing along their Daydream platform as well. But one of the things we've kind of been wondering in regards to Google is, are they going to get involved with a little bit more of the high-end VR headsets and the standalone dedicated VR headsets? Are they going to get involved in that area at some point? And we know that they are getting involved in that area. We just don't know exactly to what end. But we do have some news out of them. And basically the news here is that at the SID Display Week conference, which is coming up, I believe, between May 20th and May 25th in Los Angeles, Display Week 2018, Google is going to be there. One of their representatives is going to be there. They're going to be giving a talk. And basically, this information comes to us from OLED Info. Now, this is a story that Road to VR is reporting on. OLED Info basically broke this information, but according to some information they have about what is going to be one of the talks that's going to be held at Display Week 2018, is there is going to be a talk that is going to be given by Google hardware engineer Colin Vieri. Now, the title of this talk is 18 megapixel, 4.3 inch, 1443 ppi, 120 hertz OLED display for wide field of view, high acuity head mounted displays. So this is going to be a talk that is going to be given by Colin Vieri, and we kind of have to go back to some previous announcements that were made by Google. Of course, this is Clay Bavor, who is the vice president of VR AR. Now, he mentioned, I think this may have been last year when he mentioned this, that Google was working with one of the leading OLED manufacturers in the world, that they were working on a very high-end display that would be very specific to VR displays, that this new display that they were creating was going to provide 10 times more pixels than any display currently available, and that such a panel would reach around 20 megapixels per display. Now, this particular OLED display that we're talking about here, this is 18 megapixels, and so it's a little bit short of that, but this is probably what Clay Bavor was talking about when he was talking about this last year, and that Road to VR, well, OLED Info actually has suggested that the resolution of this headset, based on the information that they've given, would probably be in the area of 5500 by 3000 resolution. So this would be considerably higher than the Samsung Galaxy display, considerably higher than the HTC Vive Pro. So this is something that I'm particularly interested in myself, because I kind of feel like if I'm going to jump up to a new headset, I kind of want to double that resolution. You know, I want to double up. And as good as the Samsung display is doing in the Samsung Odyssey, as good as the display is going to be in the HTC Vive Pro, it's a relatively minor jump in the grand scheme of things, and this is a much more significant jump. So I'm a little bit more excited by this. So we definitely have to look forward to Display Week 2018. This talk, I believe, is scheduled for May 22nd. So we're definitely going to be looking forward to this. But Google, I mean, let's face it, they are very involved in this game. They want to have a very big piece of this pie because none of these companies want to be on the outside looking in. So there are so many major corporations that are working on AR, they're working on VR, and they're kind of working on it more from the standpoint of a defensive posture. Nobody wants to be on the outside looking in. Think of all the companies that were involved in the smartphone revolution, and think of the companies that kind of were on the outside and they kind of got screwed by that whole thing. Well, nobody wants this to happen again. So everybody is very involved. They're very much working on this. And so we're excited to see what Google might bring to the table in regards to this new higher end display. You have to expect that eye tracking and foveated rendering is going to be a very big part of this. And one of the questions we get into as far as this, of course, is Google going to be releasing their own headset, or are they working on this display in collaboration with this OLED manufacturer? And then maybe they're going to create a reference design kind of similar to Qualcomm or similar to what Microsoft has done with the Microsoft mixed reality platform. They could be creating a reference design and then look for other hardware partners to actually come out with their headsets, kind of similar to what Google is doing with the Daydream. So this is something we'll have to look forward to. We definitely are excited about Display Week 2018, which is coming up later in May. Okay, let's go ahead and get into story number 2. Now, story number 2 is a little bit off the beaten path from a lot of the stuff that we talk about here. This is an AR related story, but it's even different than your normal AR related stuff. Now, what am I talking about here? I'm talking about Bose, who is showing off a AR smart glasses that actually does not feature any AR display whatsoever. In fact, this is 100% audio based. Now you might be scratching your head thinking, what? Audio only? Augmented reality? What are we talking about here? Well, basically Bose has designed these smart glasses that you're going to put on your face. And yeah, there's no visual information that is coming in whatsoever. There's no special little projector. There's no special lenses. There's no micro displays. Nothing is going on here. In fact, it is 100% audio. But the interesting thing about this is Bose has come up with this unique concept. So basically, this is how it's going to work. These glasses that you're going to have, they're going to be tethered to your phone using Bluetooth or some wireless technology, and then you're going to have an app on your phone. Your phone is going to have its own GPS. So what they're going to be able to do is imagine that you're walking down the street and you're looking at various restaurants that are lined along this street. You're interested in having dinner. You don't know which one of these restaurants you want to go to because you don't know which one is good, which one necessarily isn't good. And so what this app will supposedly be able to do is it will be able to calculate relatively, with some relative accuracy, what you happen to be looking at. It's going to know where your glasses are aimed. It's going to know where you're located in 3D space based on GPS and then based on where the glasses are aiming. And so if you're looking at a particular restaurant, information can pop in, audio information can pop into your ear, kind of giving you, say, some Yelp reviews on these different restaurants. Or let's say you're in Tokyo and you're at one of the various train stations in Tokyo. You need to catch a train that's going to take you to a different section of Tokyo, but it is complete madness. You don't know what's going on. There's so many signs everywhere. There's so many people everywhere, so many different trains. It's all incredibly confusing. But if you have some of these Bose AR smart glasses that are taking advantage of this with audio only, maybe you can go ahead and key into your app the train station that you're looking for, and then this it'll give you audio cues that will say, look 20 degrees that way. Okay, yes, you're looking in the right direction. Now head in that direction for about 2 minutes. Walk about 2 minutes in that direction or whatever. You know, it's going to give you some information that is just going to come audio only. And I think it's a relatively interesting concept. And then when you add, in addition to this, that Bose is also going to make this technology available to other companies that already have AR smart glasses that are going to actually have a visual element. So imagine this technology being combined with the Intel Vaunt smart glasses, so you could possibly have audio only notifications, you could have visual notifications, you could have a combination of both. So this is some relatively interesting idea that Bose has come up with. And even if you just consider the audio only version, think about the fact that these smart glasses, they don't have to have all that extra technology inside them. They don't have to have a projector or a little laser that's beaming light into your eyes. And so they don't need all the technology with that. All they need to have is 2 little speakers that are going to be located perfectly, shooting the audio right into your ears, because Bose knows you're going to put these glasses on your head. The glasses are going to rest on your ears like so, and the speakers are going to be located in a very specific location aimed directly at your ears, so they can provide some really good audio. But not only this, the audio is going to be so quiet and so low that the only way you're actually going to hear this audio is when you actually put the glasses on your head. Then you actually hear it. So somebody that is standing right next to you, they're not going to hear anything. So it's going to have that privacy ability there, which is kind of good as well. But I just thought this was interesting technology that Bose came up with, and hopefully we'll see some more of this. I mean, it's out of the box thinking. Who would have thought of having audio only AR glasses? So it's a very interesting concept, and I'm looking forward to see what they possibly bring into the future. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into story number 3. And story number 3 is the daily deal. Oculus's daily deal for today is Kin, the puzzle platformer. Now, wait a minute, you're saying, I thought this was already a daily deal last week. Yes, it was, but it was the daily deal on the day of Oculus 2018, you know, the day the Earth stood still, the day when we had the Oculus runtime error and we had the whole expired certificate kerfuffle. So basically, Kin, House of Secrets, the developer of Kin, they kind of got screwed by having a daily deal on that day. It's not an ideal day to have the daily deal. Nobody was excited about the Oculus platform on that day. Everybody was pissed off. So who's going to run to the Oculus store and buy Kin on a daily deal? You didn't even know if you were going to have an Oculus Rift that was going to be operable in the future. So they've been given a second chance. So it is the daily deal again. Now, this deal does expire at midnight Pacific time today on Monday, and by the time this episode is uploaded to YouTube, there's probably only 5 to 6 hours left before this daily deal expires. So if you're interested, you want to bounce over there real quick, but you can get a very high quality puzzle platformer for a mere $7.50. Now here's the deal. If you don't like seated VR games, if you don't like controller-based VR games, if you want nothing to do with any third-person VR games, it's probably not going to matter how cheap Kin gets. You're still probably not going to be interested in it. But if you don't mind all those things, and if you're cool with games like Lucky's Tale and Chronos and other third-person platformers like that are controller-based, you probably want to bounce over to the Oculus store and grab Kin for a mere $7.50. It's actually a very good deal. I've played this game. I like this game. I think it's a high quality release, so definitely check that out. Okay, now one of the themes that we had going last week was almost every single day I was announcing some new VR game, and there's just been a lot of VR games that have been coming out of the woodworks, and a lot of these games are coming this spring and in early summer summer, and so we got a lot of stuff on the docket. It is a wonderful thing. Now, I don't have another new game announcement, but it's almost like a new game announcement because we haven't heard about this game in the longest time. Now, what game am I talking about? I'm talking about The American Dream, which is coming from developer Samurai Punk. This is a game that I heard about, it might be like 2 years ago I heard about this game. I know it was a long time ago. I heard about this game, The American Dream by Samurai Punk. I think they even had an initial trailer way back in the days, and then it was basically all quiet on the Western Front. We didn't hear anything about this game for what seems like well over a year. Honestly, if you would have asked me what's the deal with The American Dream by Samurai Punk, I would have simply assumed that this game had basically been canceled and that we weren't going to get The American Dream. But I'm completely off base on that because not only has this game not been canceled, it's actually releasing this week. It is coming on March 14th. This is coming this Wednesday to the Oculus Rift and the HTC Vive, and a brand new trailer for the game was released today. And you know what is so interesting about this game? This game either is going to have absolutely perfect timing or the absolute worst timing. It just depends on the way you're looking at it, because the thing about this game, what this game is it's kind of a satirical, tongue-in-cheek look at America's fascination with guns, or at least this perceived American fascination with guns. And obviously there's all this stuff that is going on in the political world right now with this gun violence and Donald Trump and making the video game industry a scapegoat for this gun violence that has been going on here in America and all these different things. And obviously I'm not going to get into all that kind of stuff. This is not that kind of a show. But what I will say is, man, this game is really dialed in to this kind of thought process. I have to imagine that the NRA, the National Rifle Association, they're not huge fans of The American Dream by Samurai Punk, because this game is definitely taking a very satirical look at it, a very tongue-in-cheek look at it. And if you watch this trailer, see basically the idea of this game is instead of using your hands to do things, you use guns. And basically everything you're doing in this game, you're using guns to do this, you're using guns to do that. And it kind of has this 1950s vibe going on it, but kind of a twisted 1950s vibe. It kind of has a little bit of that Fallout 3 or Fallout 4 kind of flavor. And you know, the interesting thing about this is when I watched the brand new trailer today, I could not help but think about an old 1975 sci-fi movie starring a very young Don Johnson. This movie is called A Boy and His Dog. And if you guys are a fan of 70s sci-fi like me, I'm a huge fan of 70s sci-fi. I mean, we're talking about stuff like Planet of the Apes. We're talking about Logan's Run. We're talking about Close Encounters of the Third Kind. We're talking about all kinds of amazing sci-fi movies back in the 70s that were really cool. And one of the best sci-fi movies of the 70s that you don't hear much about at all is A Boy and His Dog. And I can tell you, if you're a huge fan of Fallout 3 or Fallout 4, you owe it to yourself to watch this 1975 movie, A Boy and His Dog, starring Don Johnson, because I gotta say, man, Bethesda Game Studios, I love you guys, but man, did you rip this movie off. Like, you guys ripped this movie off to no degree. Seriously, if you watch this movie, you will see basically the idea of underground vaults, the idea of underground civilizations that are kind of out of touch with everything, and they're kind of in the 1950s, but they're kind of weird and twisted. The idea of walking along a wasteland with your dog meat, like that came from A Boy and His Dog, this Don Johnson movie, and I'm really getting a strong flavor of that with this game, The American Dream. In fact, honestly, I don't know that I would be that interested in playing The American Dream, but after watching this trailer and kind of thinking of A Boy and His Dog and that interesting vibe and the satirical humor and the tongue-in-cheekness of it all, especially with all the gun stuff that is going on, I'm actually quite interested in this game, and I definitely want to check it out this Wednesday. Wednesday. So we have that to look forward to. Now, I don't have a price on this game, but it is coming this Wednesday to the Vive and the Rift, and it's also going to be coming in the future to PlayStation VR. So we do have that to look forward to. Okay, guys, the last story before we bounce out of here is there are some initial reviews from the Ready Player One screening that happened last night at South by Southwest. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and bounce onto the internet real quick and kind of read you guys a little bit about some of this stuff that is going on Reddit, all these different reviews that are coming out. Now, people are talking about how the fact that there were a number of technical difficulties that happened during the screening of the movie. Apparently, during the last climactic act of the movie, the sound cut out for a while, and there was a number of technical difficulties, but people still really love this movie. I mean, people are just talking about how amazing it is. For example, Daniel R., here's what he had to say. There were some problems at the screening. However, the movie itself is everything a geek could dream of. So much fun. Eric Davis is saying, we haven't seen this Spielberg in a long time. It's just pure entertainment, and it's hard not to watch it without a dorky smile on your face the whole time. Let me read another one. Well, Beatrice Verhoeven says, if this doesn't answer whether people loved Ready Player One, I don't know what will. And she has linked a video of like everybody just clapping and cheering right after the screening was over. And then E. Bob Jr., he had this to say. Ready Player One at South by Southwest blew my mind like it blew the speakers. Holy cow, Spielberg delivered. Here's another one from Alex White LeBlanc. Ready Player One, haven't felt that sense of childlike wonder since Jurassic Park. This film lacks the terror of that film, but the sense of joy is overwhelming. This film is love. So basically, just a lot of really great reviews on Reddit from people that checked out that screening of Ready Player One last night. Now, of course, you do need to take a giant grain of salt with all of this, because you've got to understand that a lot of people that saw this movie at South by Southwest last night is kind of preaching to the choir. I mean, I have to imagine that this theater was filled with Ready Player One fans, fans of the book, fans of Steven Spielberg himself, fans of the VR industry in general, and just this type of geek nostalgia and what was going on here. So it's kind of preaching to the choir a bit. So maybe take a little bit of a grain of salt, because we don't really know how is Joe Walmart going to react to this movie. That's what we really want to know. Joe Walmart and his family, how are they going to react to this movie on March 29th? But hey, it's good to see that it appears that we've got a great movie on our hands here with Ready Player One, because it could be very important for the VR gaming industry going forward. One of the things that I think about in relation to Ready Player One, do you guys remember when The Matrix came out? I think it was like 1999 is when The Matrix first hit. But The Matrix, like when that movie came out, it was like a revolutionary movie. It kind of changed the landscape a little bit. And if Ready Player One could have like 50% of the kind of success that The Matrix had in 1999, I mean, this movie could do absolute wonders for the VR and AR industry, and could kind of give us that second wind that we've been looking for the VR AR industry. It could be absolutely huge. So it's very good news to see initial positive reviews coming out of that screening last night. All right, folks, we've gone a little bit longer today. That's going to go ahead and wrap it up. This has been episode 116 for Monday, March 12th. And I will, of course, see everybody tomorrow on Tuesday. Have a wonderful Monday evening, everybody. See you tomorrow. Later.